Well, earlier this week, demonstrators gathered outside the London offices of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They were protesting about a meeting taking place which they said could result in farmers in Africa being unable to produce and distribute their own seeds for their crops. They claim that the foundation, which has given $2 billion in grants to smallholder farmers since 2006, is supporting a plan to effectively privatize seed production, which will have a very damaging effect on small-scale farmers in Africa. Well, joining me to tell me more about this is Dan Iles from the campaign group Global Justice Now. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. First of all, tell us how these measures will affect small-scale producers in Africa.
So what we're seeing is a handover of control of resources from small-scale farmers into the hands of big business. What happens is that these resources are like seeds, are very useful for small-scale farmers to protecting things like seed diversity and all sorts of different. They're really important for farmers to protecting climate change and so they can protect their seeds.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you saying that establishing a global seed bank would not help sustainable agriculture in Africa?
It's really important that small-scale farmers maintain control over their seeds. The Bill Gates Foundation is trying to privatize seed systems through cozying up to their friends in big business. And what we're seeing is these initiatives being rolled out where seed systems are being privatized and small-scale farmers are losing the control over their seeds.
What I don't understand, Dan, is that the information we have is that Bill Gates has spoken out severally defending small farmers, and I'll ask the UN to help these producers. I mean, why would he then intentionally make moves to hurt their livelihood?
What's interesting is that no small-scale farmers were invited to this meeting yesterday, and no civil society groups are invited either. So what was happening is that Bill Gates is not listening to the needs of small-scale farmers. We are in contact with our allies in Ghana and in South Africa, and they are organising mass movements against what they call the next new scramble for African resources. Now, in Ghana, there's been a mass movement against what they call the Monsanto law. We've had civil society groups, religious groups, tribal leaders all coming out against the Monsanto law. And it's really important that we stand in solidarity with these activists, because if they lose their control over seeds, they lose control over food. And it's so important that they maintain this.
Now, the number of hungry people in the world has reached the 1 billion mark. Now, the Gates Foundation has been trying and has been commended by lots of different governments. They've been trying to move hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. If in trying to achieve this aim, a few farmers' livelihoods are unintentionally damaged along the way, I mean, is that not worth it? Is it not for the greater good?
So unfortunately, the Gates Foundation is extremely misguided when it comes to putting policies on African farmers. They don't listen to the needs of small-scale farmers. And the reason we're outside yesterday is we were handing out packets of small seeds to show that this seed diversity is really important. Yes, there are lots of hungry people in the world, but actually 70% of the world's food is produced by small-scale farmers. So it's really important that small-scale farmers maintain as key stakeholders in these decisions that the Gates Foundation has taken part on.
But do you not feel that their motives, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are honest? Because, I mean, you know, they recently announced a further $200 million in new agricultural grants, bringing the foundation total to over $2 billion. And, I mean, they're investing this amount of money. Doesn't that show that they've got good intentions?
I think they're extremely misguided. It seems that, well, even the Gates Foundation
you said they were putting the money, that they were doing this, trying to privatize the seeding thing, in order to help their friends in big business. I mean, they don't need the money, do they?
It's an ideological difference between what many small-scale farmers' views are in Africa. They believe in the trickle-down economics, whereby if you invest in large-scale agribusiness, then the growth will happen further down the line. But what we see is that actually small-scale farmers are suffering suffering from loss of rights as agribusinesses expand to extract resources, yet again, extracting resources from seeds, from soil, from land. And it's really important that we stand in solidarity with these activist
but you're
movements.
making direct allegations. You're suggesting that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have had a secret meeting with U.S. aid. You're saying that BMGF is a major sponsor of the commercialization of agriculture in Africa, including through its subsidiary, the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa. But these initiatives are also backed by the government of Kenya, by the Central Bank of Nigeria, by the Millennium Development Authority of Ghana. Why would these institutions be backing something that is going to damage their continent?
So, I mean, there are many misguided policies out there. There's clearly a revolving door between organisations like the Gates Foundation and big agriculture, like companies like Syngenta that were invited to the meeting yesterday. In fact, the Gates Foundation is reported to have shares in Monsanto. So it's really important that people know that they have quite often they have a vested interest in spreading these sorts of corporate supply chains in Africa. And when it comes to seed, what we're seeing is privatization so Africa is currently small-scale farmers have been saving their seeds for generations. They've been that means handing it down from farmer to farmer to farmer. Now, this is a free resource that they hold for themselves. But organisations like the Gates Foundation are allowing big business to step in and privatize these seeds and take them away from small-scale farmers so that they have to buy them year on year.
Well, thank you very much indeed for drawing our attention to those allegations of yours. I can assure you we'll be watching you very closely here on Arise News. Dan Iles from the campaign group Global Justice Now, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thanks so much for inviting me.